Now, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the vision of infusing professionalism and catering to the demands of its customers, that is where NAR and CREDAI, that's a Confederation of Real Estate Developers Association of India, are on the same page. And in fact, synergies between the two are going to be definitely acting as a catalyst for promoting this sector and for the growth of the sector. We have two visionary leaders of CREDAI who have joined us here. So first, I would like to invite Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia, the President CREDAI Bengal. And apart from various landmark projects which he has developed in Kolkata, in fact, the entire skyline of Kolkata, ladies and gentlemen, he is also the member of the Task Force on Infrastructure and Real Estate, Government of West Bengal. And he is also the Vice Chairman of Women Industrial Training Institute, Kolkata, which has been extending the vocational training, the education and the skills to women. What Dr. P.S. Rao had mentioned about including more and more now women realtors, he is catering to that demand and the need. So inviting Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia.
Very good morning to all of you friends. Shri Devashish Sen, Principal Secretary Urban Development Department. Shri Alapan Bandyopadhyay, Principal Secretary Transport and Housing Department. Professor Dr. P.S. Rao, Chairman NAR-INDIA. Mr. Sachin Shroff, President NAR-INDIA. Mr. Shekhar Reddy, President CREDAI. Dignitaries on the dais. All international delegates and delegates from across India. My colleagues from CREDAI, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a delight to witness the NAR-INDIA convention being held in Calcutta, and I congratulate the RECA team for hosting a convention of this scale and bringing so many delegates from different parts of the country and the world to our great city at a time when there is a huge scope of urban development in different parts of our state due to a progressive urban policy recently announced by our government. I take this opportunity to express our gratitude to our Honorable Minister, Shri Firhad Hakim, Principal Secretary, Shri Devashish Sen, and Shri Alapan Bandyopadhyay for the effort and vision in announcing the first comprehensive urban development policy in the state. Friends, I represent the Bengal chapter of CREDAI, the country's apex body of the organized real estate developers, and it is heartening to see the realtor community, which plays such an instrumental role in a developer's business plans, getting itself together and mobilizing its resources and maturing as a cohesive force. Realtors are the bridge between us and our customers. They are almost our eyes and ears as far as the customer market is concerned. At a time when we developers are trying together to put customer interests first, the realtors are our biggest source of information. In fact, information on market pattern is sometimes so prolific from our end that it sometimes even compels us to redesign and revisit our development plans. In short, our relationship is both supplementary and complementary in the project cycle, in turn evolving to a symbiotic relationship. The more our relationship is better, the more value addition will take place. And I am happy to state that CREDAI Bengal has signed an MOU with RECA Kolkata for expanding the scope of cooperation between two organizations. And we have many realtors as CREDAI members also. At a time when the real estate sector is continuously trying to evolve through a process of self-evaluation, ethical business practices, worker welfare, in short, trying to wrench itself out of its traditional image into a more professional entity, I would say that the only way forward is to get more organized. NAR, like CREDAI, has been able to also assert itself, getting itself organized, and the results are showing today. Friends, I believe the time has come when the realtor's body needs to formulate self-regulatory guidelines for their business process, service standards, minimum qualifications, and a code of conduct to meet with the expectations of both the real estate industry and the customers. This will also nurture a culture of best practices and improved interfraternity relationship. Today, the realtors have also been able to pull themselves out of the traditional ambit of brokerage. Brokerage it is, but the way your community has adapted to technology, bringing to the fore business nuances, developing sound research teams, channelizing feedback from our end users, and most importantly, help shaping our business plans. The role of a realtor is changing from information distributor to a consultant and advisor. Friends, this change is even more relevant with the change of dynamics of the business and the disruptive digital technology for real estate intermediation. It is in your interest to embrace the new internet and social media platforms and supplement your business plans with use of technology to bring customer experience and connect to a new level and possibly reducing transaction costs with a customer who is more informed. Friends, conferences like these help learning, thinking, sharing, and bringing the industry on a single platform. And I once again thank NAR-INDIA and RICA Kolkata for inviting me here, and I wish the two-day convention all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for extending your views. And as you mentioned, it is in these changing times as we embrace more and more of technology. It's going to be adding more of skills. It's going to be adding more of speed and bringing in that scalability. So thank you for your guiding views. And now, ladies and gentlemen, inviting a man of action and a man who's always at work, someone who's always been also very self-critical and self-analytical, and that's the reason that he has been able to extend a lot of perfection. He's highly regarded in his fraternity, highly regarded for the work and contribution which he has done, and continuously interacting with the various stakeholders, building synergies, interacting with the government so as to impress upon the policymakers the challenges which the sector is facing. Some very revolutionary changes, ladies and gentlemen, he has been able to bring in. The abolition of the land ceiling, concept of REITs was introduced under his leadership, drafting of the national housing policy, encouraging affordable housing, rainwater harvesting, and the reusage of the water. It's a recycling of water. And presently, ladies and gentlemen, he's working on 4 pronged areas. Those areas are environment, reforms, skills, and community development. The personality and expression, Mr. Shekhar Reddy, the National President, CREDAI. I would like to now invite him to address you.
Today, like all of us, we are very fortunate. We have very distinguished, experienced, knowledgeable, and pro-industry principal secretaries are here. Both principal secretaries are here from the West Bengal. I happened to interact with them also in the earlier session in our East Convention here. Sri CREDAI Sen, the Principal Secretary, Urban Development Department, and Sri Allapan Bandopathyay, Principal Secretary, Housing and Transport Department, Dr. P.S.N. Rao, Chairman, NAR-INDIA, Sri Sachin Sharaf, President, NAR-INDIA, Sri Jitendra Khaitan, Convention Chairman, NAR-INDIA, for the 6th Convention. My senior colleagues, Sri Harshavardhan Patodia, Vice President, CREDAI National, and also the President of the CREDAI Bengal, and our senior colleague, Sri Satish Magar, Vice President of CREDAI National, Sri Ajay Agarwal, President, REC Edika, Sri Harsh Neotia, our colleague, Sri Pradeep Sureka, and our one of the founders, senior most member, Sushil Mahta, and the incoming President, Sri H.L. Bagra, office bearers and members of the NAR-INDIA, other dignitaries on the dais, members of print and electronic media, distinguished guests, delegates, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I thank you, the President and the organizing committee for inviting me here to share my thoughts. In fact, whatever the CREDAI has undergone for the last 15 years, the experience of bringing all the developers and unorganized developers under a single umbrella and making it very strong. Similarly, NAR-INDIA has started this organization, and for the last 6 years, they have done very good work by bringing most of the reorgers in the country under one single umbrella and educating them and also exposing them to the best practices in India and also abroad. And great efforts in NAR-INDIA. Congratulations to all of you. Yesterday, there was I have observed, in fact, I listened to various Prime Minister speeches earlier years on Independence Day, but yesterday's speech of the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi's speech was really touching, and it was a good, it was motivating speech. It touched upon everybody, and he mentioned about Make in India, and he said it's possible. Definitely, I agree with his views, it is possible. But only thing is, a lot of reforms are required. He has done already several reforms within the 2 months of his governance, and if you can go by the Ease of Business Index by World Bank, India, we stand about 134 rank out of 189. So we are far, far away from the conducive business environment in the country. So unless we bring down this index of 134 to maybe near to the 10 digit or less than 10 digit, Make India is not possible. And bringing this index to below 10 requires a lot of reforms by the government of India, the state governments, other departments, and all the stakeholders, including CREDAI and NAR, everybody, they have to do a lot of reforms. They have to streamline. In fact, since our principal secretaries are here, sir, unless the redundant, outdated, no objection certificates, so-called NOCs, are totally eradicated from the system, and the regulatory authority bill, which is totally one-sided, it's not practical, it will increase the cost, and it is not answering the actually issues involved by the, various agencies, government agencies and non-government agencies, service providers. They are not giving their approvals, permission within the time. So developer is helpless unless you bring them under the regulatory authority, and if they are accountable, then only the developer can deliver the ultimate product to the end user. It can justify to the end user, sir. So that is also we are also working with the government of India, and if the suggestion goes from the West Bengal government also, definitely it will help them to have a re-look into the regulatory authority bill. Not only this, sir, ease of business, not only these issues, there are other issues also you have to consider. The FSI is outdated. We have to bring in new rules, new reforms into the building rules also, and also the online permission and tax also, sir. In fact, we are going to, maybe we may achieve something in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana. Instead of going to 15-20 departments, you just please come out what is the tax payable for the built-up space per square meter, how much, whatever you want to that money, you can pay a single challan. It will go to the different accounts. That will make our job easy, and also you can also plug in all the leakages, revenue leakages. And there are 3 dozen acts out there which we have to follow. It's very difficult. When Andhra Pradesh, when IT started, they exempted some of the acts to promote the industry. Here also, what you can do is you can bring in a simple act which is applicable to specific sectors, housing sector, IT sector. That will also really bring in the index, ease of the business index also. So, in fact, in bifurcated Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, both the chief ministers are very positive. And in fact, the Telangana chief minister has retained the industry portfolio and also urban development portfolio. He has announced already that he is going to start a chasing cell. In the chasing cell, he is going to personally monitor for next 2 years He has promised that he will give all types of permissions except pollution control permission. All permission will be given within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, all permissions will be given. That is definitely going to be, attract more investments. So these are the reforms also we are looking, sir. And CREDAI has put up a lot of efforts in various areas like regulatory authority and REITs, FDI and GST, and also affordable housing and FDI. Because of our efforts, CREDAI efforts, in the recent budget also, a lot of our issues have been addressed, and up to 65 lakhs of the apartments are building units. It will attract the priority sector lending for the home buyer, and also the developer will also get the project financing. Definitely, it's a welcome step. It's a big boom. I can say to all our small and medium developers across the country, because up to now we are non-priority sector. Our developers are not getting the sufficient funds. But with this reform, definitely RBI reforms, definitely all the developers across the country are going to get a big benefit out of that. And I request all the realtors also to concentrate more on affordable housing, because Government of India want to provide Pakka shelter for all by 2022. There is a huge business opportunities is there for everybody. And that's one of the issue I want to highlight. And some of the suggestions what I thought I can bring it to your notice is most probably most of the professional realtors are already following, but still your role is also there, part of the ease of doing business for the end consumer. I think title is one aspect. I think you must look into that, and also sanction plan and brochure, whether it tallying or not, because you have to do justice ultimate just to the end user. That you have to build a relation with the developer, but at the same time, more justice should be done to the end user. And also, construction is going as per the sanction plan or not, or you even look into the track of the developers' earlier projects.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the very constructive views towards growth of the industry. And ladies and gentlemen, as we started this morning, we introduced to all of you the music of Kolkata. Showed you why is it called the City of Joy. Kolkata is also the intellectual capital of India, and it has now various opportunities extending to almost everyone. So let's see now in a short film why Kolkata makes you smile and how, presenting you this film.
Is vibrant all the way. Something's always happening, whether night or day. No matter what you're doing, Kolkata will steal your heart away. It'll steal your heart away. Yeah. Its small register is ringing. Its streets are filled with love. And while young folks are singing, an angel spins up above, thinking on the move, one step ahead of the rest. And we all say Kolkata is the gateway to the east. Job prospects are replete, the economy's on the rise. Whoever you will meet will say Kolkata's a surprise. Is vibrant all the way. No matter what you're doing, it'll steal your heart away. Bridges and construction, parks of lovely green, and those sooner perfection, just waiting to be seen. Actors and undone on stage on silver screen. Towering architecture, a thriving cultural scene. Schools and books and wisdom, jobs laying on the street.
But the one project that comes to my mind is Technopolis. Technopolis is India's first green IT park project that got certification under LEED. It then went on to become the first project in the world which the United Nations recognized as a CDM project and registered under the CDM project to earn carbon credits. This is a very, very big achievement for us. And in my mind, not many people are aware that actually the first green building recognized by United Nations is actually sitting in Kolkata.
There are huge entrepreneurial opportunities in Kolkata and West Bengal. It's on the person who's seeing it. I think there lies a huge opportunity in the service sector because of large educated mass. And as a company, we employ closer to 8,000 people, and we are proud to say closer to 4,000 people are from Bengal.
Kolkata is very unique in the sense that, in many states there are a lot of major cities, but Bengal is oriented and grows around Kolkata, and Kolkata metropolitan area houses roughly 40% of the urban population of the state. And therefore, the government of West Bengal lays a special emphasis on what is to be done to make Bengal better in the Kolkata region. In fact, the area of the Kolkata metropolitan area is also contemplated to be enlarged soon, and the decadal growth is about 14% in Kolkata.
How can she do that? We hope that you enjoy each and every moment here in this city. And as you saw in the film also, Kolkata is a growing city. There's a lot of urbanization happening. It was shared with you that the urban development policy has already been announced by the government. And now what seems to be forward is the implementation part. As we mentioned, we have our two very distinguished guests of honor representing the government of West Bengal. So first, may I invite, ladies and gentlemen, Shri Alapan Bandyopadhyay, the Principal Secretary, Transport and Housing Government of West Bengal, how they are looking forward to building more sustainable cities and more livable cities. Inviting you, sir, for your address.
Dr. Rao, Shekharji, all the major leaders and office bearers of National Association of Realtors India, their distinguished colleagues from different other parts of the world, all the leading members of CREDAI, and I see many friends here, my senior colleague, Principal Secretary Urban Development and Chairman HIDCO Sri Debashish Sen, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored that NAR-India has given us this opportunity to share our points of view and to listen to your brilliant elucidation of your points. I have been particularly impressed by Dr. Rao's presentation. I would think that he has most cerebrally and succinctly pointed out the concepts which were otherwise remaining a little unclear to us. The phrase realtors, for example, you have explained so well, and the way you have explained the transaction consultancy phrase, we are grateful to you for such explanation. Shekharji has, as always, has been very bright, very pithy, and very pointed in his inputs. In a manner of response and reaction, let me summarize what some of us in the government of West Bengal have been trying to do to respond to these suggestions as those suggestions have been evolving over the years. But before that, I must say that this forum is indeed very impressive. In a manner of speaking, I would say this is for the first time that I am seeing in Calcutta an attempt to metropolitanize the transaction consultancy connectivity. Many of us who have been staying in this city for some time would recall that till about late 1990s, transaction consultancy or realty connectivity, whichever way you put it, was quite a small townish affair. We used to go to those little brokers in the neighborhoods, would often get cheated honestly, would often get very bad inputs. There would be newspaper stories horrendously violent and semi-violent, how promoters would cheat the innocent widow, how the brokers would cheat the hapless old man, how a young girl would be cheated, how the first installment was given, then the sort of quote-unquote promoter would fly, how the broker would not keep up to his promise. It's only 15 to 20 years from those days, and I see that a whole confident, metropolitan, assertive, knowledgeable, confidence-inspiring group has emerged in the city, which was dominated by so much of old world, small townish approach. It speaks a wonderful thing about our own country. It speaks a whole lot of things about the policies of globalization and opening that our country has been experimenting with. It speaks volumes about our arriving at that point where we should have arrived at long back. It speaks a whole deal about the community of builders, developers and realtors that we have been able to arrive at such a wonderful point. Now, speaking about the policy changes in this part of the state, West Bengal, in this part of the country, I would like to highlight that, which some other speakers have touched upon, that very recently our state has unleashed certain policy changes for facilitating growth of construction industry. Our friends, Mr. Patodia, Mr. Sushil Mohta, they have been part of these exercises. They have touched, Mr. Patodia has touched upon these things. The most interesting point that has happened is urban township has again been brought under the liberal window approach. There is a section in our West Bengal Land Reforms Act called section 14Y. Everyone in West Bengal knows about that section. 14Y used to be a window whereby the state could allow Mr. Rahul Saraf or Mr. Jhunjhunwala to gather, aggregate, retain and develop civil surplus lands. 2 years back, under a cloud of suspicion, this window was taken out. It was difficult to aggregate and develop sizable quantums of land, and life was being difficult for many developers and realtors. But the state government, in a very recent cabinet decision, following a recommendation of a group of ministers, I was a member secretary to that group, many of us were members, has again brought back urban township under that liberal opening window, and I think it has been a very welcome thing, and I think we can give a sigh of relief. Just now, a few minutes back, one of my developer friends was telling that he had apparently aggregated some land in some part of city. He thinks it gives him an opportunity to go ahead. I think it has been a very good development which we could all take note of. Government of West Bengal, I think, has appreciated this issue, and they have said henceforth logistic hubs, logistic terminals will also be given 14Y permissions. It's high time that our developer friends and our realtor friends appreciate that this is a very interesting frontier area. Sri Devashish Sen, our chairman HITCO himself, has initiated a big kind of a project for a very high-tech and upgraded kind of a interstate terminal in his new township. We have seen some examples from Baroda and other places where transportation terminals have been made in iconic manner. Such iconic developments can be a part of urban development synergies, and the group of ministers and the cabinet West Bengal has, I would say, rather brilliantly said that henceforth these transportation hubs and logistics terminals will also be given 14Y clearances. Property tax modes in most cities in India happen to be outdated. Probably the rational response would be unitary tax method. Calcutta Municipal Corporation has done over the years very good homework on introduction of unitary tax method, and there is renewed discussion on the subject. There is a little bit of clientele potential resistance issue. We do not know whether people will actually respond to unitary method very kindly, and people matter. Therefore, our thought has been going around whether we could, to begin with, introduce unitary tax method and self-assessment on a voluntary optional basis. Those who choose the older rental method but think that that is safer could be in that regime, whereas those who think that self-assessment on a predetermined rational formula through the unitary method would be better, could probably migrate to that. This is, of course, up till now, a sort of fleeting thought, yet to be crystallized, but since this is a big forum where brainstorming could also be a way forward, we just flag it for your consideration. Now, these were some of the policy issues as response to what Professor Rao and Mr. Shekhar were saying. Talking about new windows of opportunity in such forums, we have earlier also flagged those new windows and opportunities. The government of West Bengal is fast unlocking its idle properties, be it in Durgapur, properties of DPL, SIC undertaking, be it in Kolkata, properties of state transport undertakings have been unlocked, be it elsewhere. We are at this moment busy in monetizing and utilizing and unlocking idle properties, which I believe in due course would be recognized as some of the pioneering steps. In 3 cases, the Calcutta Tramways Company have unlocked their properties, and the CESC, Calcutta Electricity Supply Corporation, CESC, has procured those lands for their power utility things in a very handsome manner. And the process goes on uninterrupted. Now, talking about closure of windows, we first talked about the policy changes, then we talked about windows opening, and I conclude by saying the windows that are being closed, that also we should know. Some windows are getting closed, which is in our case the joint venture window is getting closed. The joint venture window typically is a window where the government in a department or in a board joins hands with reputed private developers to create, typically with cross-subsidy component, housing stock, classically for both poor guys and rich guys with a cross-subsidy mode. This window has come under a cloud, and probably we are seeing the closure of a period whereby joint venture will no longer remain the mainstay of our housing operations. This is a good point in some ways, because more transparency will come in the public domain in the process, and better fiscal management should follow. But there is a lesson to learn, because from every closure we get challenges and lessons. And I flagged this issue here in this very august gathering so that we commonly address the challenges that are thrown through the closure of this window, which is in the joint venture mode. After all, you were addressing the needs of the poorer guys. Affordable housing, EWS housing, LIG housing, in whichever way you call them, those were being produced. With the closure of joint venture windows and with the unleashing of the animal instincts of the entrepreneurial energies of the nation, I am afraid sometimes more emphasis will be placed on the people who can afford and not on the people who cannot afford. This, all of us should be wary of. Neither you nor we in government can probably afford to have such a lopsided result. So, I conclude by saying, while all these policy changes, while all these new openings of new windows and closure of old windows, while through all this we expect newer positive energies to be unleashed, one window must be opened by all of us to ensure that by hook or by crook, we keep on serving those guys who cannot afford our very top class flats. While metropolitanization of these transaction consultancies and connectivities are very welcome things, metropolitanization is advised to get reconciled with the bigger purpose of equity too. And with that note, I conclude by thanking once again the brilliant organizers of this brilliant conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us a very comprehensive account of the inducive policies and very conducive policies, and enabling environment which the government of West Bengal is extending, and addressing some of the challenges and the issues which were flagged off by our esteemed guest here on the dais, the transformation which the government is planning to bring about in the city, and giving an assurance that yes, the thought is there on all the concerns which were raised here. Thank you, sir.